The last aspect of these application requirements is additional activity. And there's a variety of different ways that you're going to be able to accumulate points. And you ultimately need 350 points made up of these different additional activity areas. Now, you cannot repeat anything here under additional activity that you used as the obligatory requirements. So, you can't use your meetings in the meeting requirement and the additional activity. You can't use cases in both the casework requirement and additional activity. So just keep that in mind. The acceptance of any of these items submitted for additional activity is up to the C&E committee. If you're sticking to the things that I outline upcoming and it's pretty clear that they fall under those categories, there's not going to be a whole lot of question about whether or not it's going to count. But if you're doing something a little outside of the box and you're just not sure, reach out to the C&E committee chair, let them know what you're doing, and try to get them to tell you yay or nay before you do it. So here's the areas in which you can earn these additional activity points, and we'll kind of go through each of them individually. But basically there are 8 different areas in which you can accumulate these 350 required points. First up is extra casework. You can earn up to 100 points for extra cases. Extra cases are worth 20 points each, so a maximum of 5 extra cases will get you the most points you can get in this area. They can be any type of case, so ID, age, or bite mark for sure. Some abuse cases might be accepted. That's probably more at the discretion of the C&E committee, but it's possible. And my tip is that this is one of the easier ways to max out points. Again, you've got access to ABFO cases with repositories and workshops. So this is an area in which you can really knock out 100 points pretty easily. For submission of these, you would basically just list the extra cases on the appropriate sheet, get the appropriate signatures. Again, if you're using a repository or workshop case, just include the letter showing the case credit. The second way in which you can get extra activity is through extra testimonies. So again, there's a maximum of 100 points that you can earn here. It's 20 points per additional deposition or testimony. Again, this really needs to be probably forensic dentistry related. And for submission of proof, you will just provide the transcripts of the testimony or the deposition if it's a deposition. The third way you can earn additional points is continuing education. There is a maximum amount of 100 points that can be earned in this area, and it's essentially 1 point per hour of CE credit. Now, you cannot use the 4 meetings that you claimed as your meeting requirements in this area. So keep that in mind, but remember, let's say you attended the ASFO and the AAFS, you can essentially use one of them for your meeting attendance requirement and then the other down here in your continuing education additional activity area. So, decide which one makes more sense to use where and then put the other one in the other category. For submission here, again, you're going to supply your certificate of attendance or your certificate of completion. They are going to want to see the name of the course, the date, and the hours awarded. Keep in mind that acceptance of a course is going to be at the discretion of the C&E committee. So if it's something that doesn't just look like it really fits the bill, they may ask you for additional documentation. If you're looking at a course and you're just kind of like, I'm not 100% sure this would count, reach out to the C&E committee, send the course info to them, and just get a confirmation of either a yay or a nay before you invest the time and money in attending the course. The fourth way that you can get additional activity points is by presenting a lecture or kind of demonstration or presentation at a variety of different locations. Now, it's 25 points per presentation with a maximum of 100 points potentially earned. The caveat is you have to make this 4 unique and separate presentations to max out your points. You cannot just give the same lecture 4 times and it count. So it has to be 4 unique or separate presentations, or 2 separate and unique presentations if you only need 50 points. So the other caveat is you cannot use any lectures or presentations that you used for your participation credit. So if you presented original research at the AAFS meeting and you listed that as your meeting participation requirement, you cannot use it down here to get 25 points. For submission of proof for these, you need to supply any kind of brochure or abstract or a lecture flyer or meeting program, that sort of thing. If you lecture to an organization or an entity, you need to have somebody write and sign a letter outlining when you talked, who you talked to, what topic you covered, that sort of thing. Here's an example of one of those. This was a lecture for a graduate level course, and the topic covered was Introduction to Forensic Dentistry. There's the different things that was covered, the date of the lecture, how long I lectured, and then signed by the course director. The next way that you can earn additional activity points is publications. This is a publication in a journal, a textbook, some other published entity. You'll notice that you can potentially earn up to 75 points. The first publication can be up to 50. The point breakdown is going to depend on what type of article, what journal it was published in, or what textbook it was published in, etc. And then 25 points can be awarded for a second article or any kind of textbook chapter or things like that you are a collaborating author on. Again, they're going to want to see this in some sort of peer-reviewed publication. Again, this is an area where acceptance is going to be up to the C&E committee. If you have any questions about whether something is going to count, reach out to the chair of the C&E committee. Another way that you can get additional activity points is extra years of affiliation. Remember that there is a mandatory 2 years as part of the general requirement, or as part of the main requirements. But if you are, let's say you're affiliated for 4 years, then you can earn an additional 40 points because it's 20 points per year for those extra 2 years of affiliation. Your submission of proof is going to be a signed letter similar to what is submitted for the affiliation requirement. Again, state the years of affiliation, make sure it's signed by the appropriate person. The 7th way that you can earn additional activity points is by participating in a mass disaster or mass fatality event. So there's different ways that you can earn points. You can earn 1 point per hour for attending an exercise or participating in an exercise. Then you can earn 25 points for organizing and directing. So you can theoretically max out 40 points here if you do events in which you are both organizing and directing and attending. Keep in mind you can't use IDs or radiographs obtained during these events, but this is a manner in which you can use your mass fatality experience to earn application requirement points. Simply being a member on a team does not earn points. You have to actually participate in an activity or a training exercise. So keep that in mind. Just being a member on the team doesn't earn points. Active participation does. To submit proof, you're going to need a letter showing the details of the event and the hours participated. That will then need to be signed by the section leader or the event organizer, whoever has the authority to speak that you participated in the manner in which you participated. The last way in which you can earn additional activity points is by serving on a forensic committee. This is intended to be a forensic dentistry committee, but some other forensic committees can potentially count. So just keep that in mind. Points are awarded per term. So it's 10 points for just serving on the committee, 25 points for being the chairperson, and again, those are per term. So if you just serve on a committee for 1 year and the term is 1 year, then it's 10 points for that 1 year. If your term is 3 years, then it's 10 points for the whole 3 years. It's not 10 points per year, just 10 points for the 3 years. You can accumulate points for each committee you serve on. So if you serve on multiple committees, it's not you only get X amount per year. It's per committee per term. So just keep in mind, if you're serving on multiple committees, you can theoretically earn points for all of the committees. There's a maximum amount that you can accumulate, and that is 100. So that's kind of the point breakdown here. For submission of proof, again, this is going to be a letter from either the committee chairperson or somebody in the committee that's organizing everything, confirming your service and your term, and whether or not that was a full term, was X amount of years, etc. So those are the ways you would earn the additional activity. Those are the different breakdowns. Some tips and tricks and recommendations, I guess, in terms of accumulating these 350 points. My opinion is extra cases and CE credit are some of the easier ways to get these points. I would encourage you to try to maximize these two areas, because you can pretty easily get 200 points out of the 350 just from these two categories. Giving a lecture and a presentation can also be another fairly easy way to get these points. You can lecture to a lot of potential people. Medical examiners' offices, obviously, law enforcement, you could potentially even give an abuse lecture at the Department of Human Services, dental organizations, hygiene organizations, local study clubs. Those sort of places would be great people to lecture to. Again, you can lecture on any aspect of forensic dentistry that you want to lecture on. Just remember that to be able to maximize your points, you need to have separate, unique presentations. So if you give 4 separate, unique presentations, this is another way to max out and earn 100 points. So there's 3 kind of options for pretty easily and readily getting to 300 points. If you are just really struggling to get these last few points in this additional activity, let's say you've got all your other requirements, you've got your autopsies, your affiliation, your casework, your meetings, you've gotten everything done except for this 350 of additional activity. Reach out to the C&E committee, tell them what struggles you're having, tell them the things you've tried, the things that haven't been successful. And a lot of times they will either give you some guidance, they might give you some ideas for how to achieve getting the rest of the points. But it also kind of just informs the C&E committee of certain issues. If they are discovering that one thing is really consistent in terms of being an issue, it may lead to revamping of these requirements in the future. Another tip that I have is if you've got something forensic dentistry related that doesn't fit into one of those categories, it doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means that you need to kind of have approval. Reach out to the C&E committee, explain what you've done, explain what it is, and ask if there's a way that it can be used for additional activity points. The worst thing they can say is no, and then you're not really any worse off than you were. The best thing they can say is yes, and it may put you one step closer towards being able to apply for ABFO examination. So I know that's a lot of information. There's a lot that was covered in all of this.